Everybody, and welcome to this week's Ask Me Anything series. I'm Tim from Ledger, and I'm going to be going in and answering all your questions that you have, crypto related, please. So if you do have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, and I'm just going to start from the top. I'm going to work my way down. I'm going to do my best to answer your questions as well as I can with what knowledge that I can muster. So let's see. I'm just going to go ahead and get right into it. So we've got Thor Skettle. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. I don't speak French, but let me go ahead and Google Translate this real quick. 1 second. I love Google Translate. This goes for anybody else in the chat. If you're not comfortable typing in English, I'll do my best to translate it with Google Translate. So don't worry about it. So you asked, didn't you make one yesterday? Yeah. Our EU team didn't ask me anything yesterday. So I'm on the US team. So I do it from here, kind of like to help out people in this time zone. And our European team from France, they'll do it from over there, and they do that on Tuesdays. And there's a whole bunch of different like YouTube shows that we do. So for the US team, our Ask Me Anything is today on every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I also do a live onboarding device setup. So for anyone that's here that is wondering how to kind of set up your device, and if you have more questions about how to do that, you can pop into the show on Fridays, and that's at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Friday. In fact, let me just drop our entire social media schedule for you guys here. We have a Help Center article that's got our whole schedule. Here we go. Okay, cool. And this is broken up between US and EU based teams. We are different teams, same team, but different locations, obviously. But here's our schedule in case there's another show you want to pop into and check out. Social media. There you go. Yeah, so check out this link right here, and it'll give you all the days and times that we do our YouTube shows and our Twitter shows. Okay, cool. Let's see what we got here. Got these tabs real quick. Okay, that was me. T-Mail Flash is saying battery issues error message with my X. Yeah, that's a known thing with the Nano X. There's a small percentage of them, for whatever reason, are having this battery issue. There's a lot of documentation out about it, like on Reddit and stuff. But basically, the best way to address that is to first make sure you're on the most up-to-date firmware. Full disclosure, if you are getting the error battery cannot charge or battery not able to charge error message, then updating your firmware is not likely to fix that. But one thing that can sometimes fix that is to plug your Nano X directly into a power source, into a wall outlet, like not your computer, somewhere where it gets direct power for uninterrupted power, and leave it plugged in for like 12 hours, like into the next day, overnight. And a lot of times it will kind of force your battery and your Nano to start behaving properly, and it'll start accepting a charge. It's just a weird quirk with these devices, and it's only a small percentage of them. But if the error does persist, then reach out to us, go to support.ledger.com and open up a support ticket, and we're going to replace that for you. So reach out to us, and if you can't fix it, we'll get you a new device sent out. Thor Skettle. Oh, hello. In English design, nice. Can you provide a way to keep anonymity using a ledger? I know you are under the laws of countries for respecting certain laws, but what stops you to give practice to keep anonymity? Yeah, so right now, let all ledger devices, they are completely anonymous. You don't need to have any KYC, any identity verification at all to use our product and interact with crypto on the web. The only time you would need to submit identity verification or KYC, know your customer, in any sense, is when you're onboarding or offboarding from crypto. That's when you need to have by law, you have to have identity verification for that. And so if you're purchasing from an exchange or through an exchange through Ledger Live, or selling vice versa, you will need to have an account set up with a centralized exchange that requires identity verification. But if you already have crypto, or if you just want to withdraw from your exchange to your cold storage device, to your ledger, you can go to I'm not sure, since you're speaking French, I'm not sure if you're in the US or Canada. but I believe that Best Buy does have locations like kind of all over the place. I don't know if there's any Best Buys located near you, but this is one of our resellers where you can actually walk into the store and you can buy one of our hardware wallets directly from Best Buy with cash. So no credit card, no trace at all that you bought that. Then you can take it home, you can set up your crypto accounts and deposit. And at no point will you ever be asked for your name, your phone number, your email address. You don't need any of that to use our product. So they are fully anonymous already by default. But if, yeah, so I guess that would kind of be the answer to your question. And there's no plans to change that. So, yeah, so I hope that answers your question. Let's see. Okay, so we got crypto. It's saying if I have crypto in my ledger, but then I lost my ledger, can I retrieve my crypto with my seed phrase on another ledger? If yes, can you tell me how this works? I would absolutely love to tell you how this works. Okay, so here, let me see. I think I have a Nano that's not set up. Okay, cool, I do. All right, I'm gonna put that down right here. So basically to answer your question, first off, yes, as long as you have your recovery phrase, you can always regain access to your ledger, to your crypto accounts. If your Nano gets lost, stolen, broken, anything, and it no longer works or you no longer have access to it, as long as you have your 24-word recovery phrase, you can go through the process to import that into a new ledger. And you can regain access to your accounts that way. But in a pinch, in an emergency, you can even enter your recovery phrase into pretty much any other wallet to regain access to your account. So like in the event that like years from now, you've had your crypto, stored on this ledger and you have your recovery phrase and your device no longer works, or like you accidentally drop it down a well and it's destroyed forever, lost forever, or whatever, you no longer have access to it through the device. And Ledger, the company, for whatever reason, went out of business and you can no longer get a Nano hardware wallet. As long as you have those words, you're fine. You can still totally access all of your accounts through other means. Now, I will say as a caveat to that, I'll go into a little bit more detail because it looks like we don't have too many questions in queue right now. I would be very careful about, just because you can do that, because you can import your 24 words. For instance, if you have Bitcoin, you can, or actually, most people don't really know what Electrum is, but most people are familiar with MetaMask. So if you have an Ethereum account, and you were to lose and you had your recovery phrase and you lost your Nano, you could even import your recovery phrase technically into MetaMask and regain access that way. But I don't recommend doing that, because if you ever import your recovery phrase into any software wallet or into any computer, if you ever store it digitally in any way, it then becomes accessible to someone who has a mind to try to steal that from you, like a hacker or a vicious piece of malware or a virus or something that would be able to go in and steal data from your computer, because your computer is inherently unsecure. So I would be very careful about keeping that, importing that into anything like on your computer, unless you absolutely have to. That's the beauty of the Ledger device, is you can actually import your phrase into your Ledger device, and then it lets you sign transactions air gap from the computer. And so you never have to share your 24 words with your computer. You never have to share your private keys with your computer. It can all happen on your Nano. So that's my spiel on that. Hopefully that in-depth answers your question and puts you at ease, where you know that you can never get locked out of your crypto accounts as long as you have your 24 words. Now, let me show you how to do it. Switch to this other view here. Okay, so this is a brand new Nano right here. It's not set up. Let me go ahead and plug it, so it still has a plastic little case on there. Go ahead and plug it in. And then you can see it opens up to this screen right here. Welcome to Nano X. You're probably familiar with this screen if you've already gone through and set up a Nano. But if you scroll all the way to the right, you'll see that there are, okay, first I have to press both buttons to continue from here. And then keep going. Okay, so you have two options. You have set up as new device and you have restore. So if you already had your recovery phrase, you would choose this option to restore, and you would press both buttons, and then it would ask you to import your recovery phrase, and then your Nano would immediately become a clone of your original Nano. You'd be able to access all the same accounts. There'd be no need to transition or transfer any funds. This would just become like think about it like making a copy of your house key. That's what that would do, is it would make a copy of the key to your crypto vaults. by doing that. And then on the other hand, you have this option here to set up as new device. And of course, this will set up a brand new recovery phrase for you. So I'm gonna go ahead and unplug this. I'm going to turn it off and keep it not set up because it's actually nice to have that as a demonstration tool. Let me switch back. All right, cool. Let's see what we got here. All right, got that. All right, so it looks like we got Telnet 2G is asking, so if we have more than 2 Nano X's, can we use one ledger live for accessing 2 Nano X's? If yes, which is the best way to manage multiple Nano X's? Excellent question. Let me do another demonstration to show you. Let me select a random Nano. I believe this one's set up. Cool, yeah, that one's set up. I got a bunch of Nanos. By the way, here's all my Nanos. I don't know if I've ever showed you guys this, but here's my Nanos right here, my Nano case. I got a bunch of them that I use for work. Okay, cool. Let me show you how this works. Okay, so I got my ledger live right here. Conveniently, I already have all these accounts that you see right here. These are all tied to the same Nano right here, the Stadium Goods Nano S Plus. That's why I have them labeled. For instance, here's an Arbitrum account. And it's labeled, it's named ARB-SG for Stadium Goods. That's so that I can know really easily which Nano it belongs to. When you start dealing with multiple Nanos, each with their own recovery phrase, it's really important to give your accounts a good name. Now, this is a Nano S Plus, and you were specifically asking about Nano X's, but for this demonstration, it doesn't really matter what kind of Nano you have. They'll all work exactly the same way with Ledger Live, like as in the way your accounts look. So for all intents and purposes, this may as well be a Nano X right here. It doesn't really matter. So the process I'm about to show you will be the same no matter what kind of device you're using. So you can see that every single one of these accounts is all labeled the type of crypto it is, -SG for Stadium Goods. So all of these different accounts all belong to this Nano. And I did that by when you first add an account to Ledger Live, you have the option to assign it a unique name. You can do it there, or you can open up an account and you can click on this little wrench icon up here in the top corner, and you can give it whatever name you want. You can assign it a new name and you can apply it from right there. So now let me go ahead and plug in this Nano X. And now this Nano X has a different recovery phrase than this one, so it's gonna create entirely different accounts. Let me go ahead and okay, cool. So I got that Nano X unlocked with the PIN and connected. None of these accounts belong to this, so let's see what we got. We got an ETH account sitting right here. Let's add an ETH account from this Nano. So you do it the same way as you would anything else. Open up the ETH app. And you just simply let it synchronize and add your account in. Now you can add accounts from as many different Nanos as you want. You can add accounts from 100 different Nanos, all with their own recovery phrase, and Ledger Live will have no idea which Nano belongs to which account, which recovery phrase, because so we're going to do ETH-X, so I know this belongs to this Nano X right here, so I can keep it straight, and I'm going to add that account. And so the only thing telling me that this account belongs to this Nano X is the label that I gave it. So this is actually the way that is suggested that you, honestly, the only real way to manage multiple accounts from different Nanos in Ledger Live. However, there's really no way to kind of like mess this up. And I'll kind of show you what I mean. Like, so I have this Nano X connected. I got the ETH app opened. Let's see what happens if I try to interact with this other ETH account that doesn't belong to this Nano. I'm just going to try to generate my receive address. And then immediately I get this error message, something went wrong. Please check that your hardware wallet is set up with the recovery phrase or passphrase associated to the selected account. So that's kind of one of the best error messages that we have in Ledger Live, because it can only ever mean one thing. The only thing that error message can mean is that you're trying to access an account that doesn't belong to that Nano. So if you ever do get that message and you are operating multiple accounts, multiple Nanos in Ledger Live, that just means you need to use your other Nano. But you can avoid having to deal with that and troubleshoot your way through that just by giving good, unique names. And now I always know that this account belongs to this one. As you can see, it's already it's there. I can generate the receive address for this one, no problem. Boom, there it is. So yeah, so we're gonna go ahead, address, good. Okay, done. So yes, that's how to manage multiple accounts from multiple different nanos in Ledger Live. Hope that answers your question. If you have any follow-ups to that, for any more like in-depth or anything, just feel free to drop in the comments and I'll be more than happy to go into more detail with you. All right. Cool. Um, creation is metal. Wait, sorry. Creations in metal. Got it. Can I have two Nano X's with the same passphrase? Yeah, definitely. So basically what I just showed you right here with these two different nanos. So if I were to take the recovery phrase from this nano and import it into this nano, following the steps that I showed just a few minutes ago, then this nano would become a clone of this nano, meaning that I would immediately be able to access all of these same accounts right here using this nano as well. Think about your recovery phrase. So your recovery phrase is best thought. It's your master private key for your account, meaning that all of your wallet addresses for all your different crypto accounts are all derived from your recovery phrase. This is the most important piece of information in your entire self-custody journey with crypto. As long as you keep your recovery phrase safe, then you always have your master key to your accounts. You never want to lose it. You never want to give it out. You never want to have it anywhere where anyone can get their eyes on it. So not backed up digitally in any way, including don't take a photograph of it. Don't store it anywhere. Because if you were to ever lose your nano or whatever, you'd be able to regain access using that. So I like to think of the seed phrase as being your master key to your crypto vaults. And I like to think of Ledger Live as being a window into your vaults, because Ledger Live can only see the information that is inside your account, but Ledger Live itself doesn't have access to your private keys. Ledger Live doesn't store your crypto. All these crypto accounts that you see right here, these are all stored on the blockchain. And so Ledger Live, I added this account right here, all these different accounts, and I gave Ledger Live the public wallet address for these accounts, which lets the application view the crypto on the blockchain, but I can't sign any transactions without my Nano, because my Nano is the key to my vault. It contains the private keys. And so you can create copies of your master private key by importing it into as many different nanos as you want. So like, for instance, if you and your significant other share crypto accounts, then you can just take your existing recovery phrase, import that into a new nano, and then give it to your significant other, and then they have access to all the same accounts. So that's, yeah, I hope that answers your question. I think it does. Yeah. Yep. All right, cool. Unless you were talking about passphrase as in the 25th word passphrase, which is different than a recovery phrase. If you do want some more information about passphrases, which is kind of a different subject, feel free to let me know in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to go into passphrases with you and kind of show you how that works. It's a bit more of a complex topic, but anything's fair game here, so feel free to ask about it. Okay, let's see. Crypto again is asking, I have the Nano S. I wanted to know if I have the ETH app, for example, and have some ETH inside, but then delete the ETH app to download another. Can I still have some ETH deposit with this address? Yeah, definitely. So here, let me show you. Actually, I don't really need to show you. I can just kind of talk through this. Yeah, so with the Nano S, this is a common problem because Nano S has very limited, as you know, has very limited internal memory space. And so it can only store like 1 or 2 nano apps at a time. And there's even some nano apps that have now grown too big to even install on the Nano S. I believe the Avalanche app, if you try to install that, it'll just be too big for the Nano S. And this is just because nano apps grow in time as the network functionalities grow and new features are added and enabled through the Nano app. This adds more code to the Nano app, and so it increases the size of the Nano app. And the Nano S was kind of like designed at a time where you didn't really need a whole lot of internal memory because, to be honest, there really wasn't a whole lot going on with crypto when the Nano S was first compared to today. And so they've grown over time, and the Nano S just hasn't really scaled with that, which is why we have the other devices, the Nano S Plus and the Nano X. But that being said, it doesn't really matter. So your Nano app, so I just got done explaining how your Ledger Live is a window into your vault. Your Nano, in fact, your recovery phrase, technically stored in your Nano, is the key to your vault. So the Nano app, what the Nano app does is that gives your Nano all the tools that it needs to interact with that specific blockchain. How to derive accounts, how to sign transactions, and basically how to navigate in that space. And so, but once you create your account in Ledger Live, you can uninstall the Nano app and it'll have no effect whatsoever on that account you just created. Because technically, and I don't want to get too far into the weeds here, but feel free to ask me if you want. I'd be happy to follow up on this. But technically, that account already existed to begin with. But so the Nano app, if you were to uninstall the Nano app, and after adding that account to Ledger Live, you wouldn't be able to interact with that account without reinstalling the Nano app, but you can just keep uninstalling and reinstalling whatever app you need to interact with whatever account you need. So the Nano app isn't super crucial. It isn't, well, it's crucial to be able to interact and do stuff with your account, but without the Nano app, you can actually still receive funds into your account. And I can kind of show you. Let me go back to the big monitor. So I still have this Nano X plugged in right here. And that's for, of course, this ETH account that I just added. I'm gonna go ahead and break that connection. I'm gonna unplug that. Let's go to this ETH account here. Let's click on the receive button. I'm gonna click continue. It wants me to connect and unlock my device, but I can actually click on this down here, don't have your device, and it'll still generate the public wallet address. Now, that's because Ledger Live knows the public wallet address of this account. It doesn't have any other information. And if I wanted to send a transaction, I would have to have a device connected with the ETH app installed to be able to do that. But it can display this information. Now, the only reason you might not want to do that is because it is really good to verify the public wallet address on the screen of your Nano. However, in a pinch, if you don't have your Nano and you just want to generate your receive address to be able to receive funds, you can do that without having your Nano plugged in if you absolutely had to, and it's not that big of a deal. So I hope that answers your question. Cool. Okay, cool. There we are. Okay, cool. And then it looks like you have another question here underneath it. How to store USDT on Ledger. So USDT is a ERC20 token. Let me switch back here and show you my account real quick, where I have some tokens. USDT, it's a ERC20 token. It can actually exist on like a lot of different networks. Like if you have a Binance Smart Chain account or a Tron account or a Kronos account or an Arbitrum account, like any Ethereum virtual machine, EVM type account, probably has a version of USDT as a token. But most people just associate it with being an Ethereum token. That's kind of how it started. But the process will be the same for whatever blockchain you're storing your USDT on. So you would go here to your Ethereum account. You wouldn't make a USDT account. You would just go to your Ethereum account and you click receive. And I don't have it plugged in, so I'll do this. And you generate your receive address. And then you can send your USDT directly to this wallet address right here. And when you receive it, you'll receive a new this little pop-up, this little drop-down link right here for show tokens, and it'll show up in your account automatically. See, look, I had some Tether in this account, and this was after sending Tether to my ETH address. It'll just show up right here in your token account, your token sub accounts. As you can see, I have some Link and some Matic right here on the Ethereum blockchain. So it's the same deal with stables with USDT. All right. Okay, cruise. Let me switch back here. Example, login password is forgotten. Ledger Live gives two options to recover account when reset device or 24 seed phrase. Is it safe to put? So if Ledger Live is asking you to input your 24-word seed phrase for any reason, you have a scam app downloaded on your computer. Ledger Live will never ask you for that. And please don't import, I hope you didn't already, but please don't import your 24-word recovery phrase ever into any application. Honestly, I'm really glad you showed up here. So the only option, if you forget your password, here, let me show you. Let me go here. I'm just going to real quick, because this is really important. Help, how do you set up a password? Help, customer support. Okay, how do you set up a password? Oh, password lock. Man, I'm blind. Okay. Turn that on. I'm going to set up a really easy password. 12345. 12345. I'm going to save it. And then I'm going to exit. Let me open Ledger Live back up. Okay, so it's asking me for my password. So if I click here, I lost my password. The only option should be to reset Ledger Live right there, to reset. And it's because of what I kind of explained before. Ledger Live doesn't really care. It doesn't have access to any of your actual funds. You're only granting it access to view your funds on the blockchain, so you can kind of manage them and view your portfolio and have a nice, convenient interface to manage all your crypto from. So if you lost your password to unlock Ledger Live, the only option that you should see is this. If it's asking you to import your 24-word recovery phrase for any reason, then that's not an official version of Ledger Live. So I'm going to cancel this. Now, it did just occur to me that you could be talking about your actual Nano device. If that's the case, like if you're talking about your PIN to unlock your Nano, and I'm way outside of the scope of what you're asking, I'll cover this just in case. So if you, let me just, here, let me show you this real quick. So I've got this right here. It's on the pin lock screen. Let me see that. So I'm going to do a random pin, 5727. That's good. That's wrong. I go like that. It'll say invalid pin, 2 attempts left right there. So if I were to input the wrong pin 2 more times, it's going to factory reset my Nano. And at that point, the only way to regain access to the funds from this Nano, the accounts, would be to import the recovery phrase into this Nano. And that is safe to do if you're talking about just putting it into your Nano. But again, if you're talking about importing, if the Ledger Live application itself is telling you to put in your 24 words into your computer for any reason, don't do that. Hard stop. And reach out to us, and we're probably going to want to know where you download that from, so we can kind of work to get that website taken down. Yes, hopefully I caught you in time for that. If you have any follow-up questions about that, please drop it in the comments. That way I can address it further or get clarification, just to make sure that nothing bad happened. Okay. All right, Telenet 2G. Yeah, you're very welcome. Yeah, no problem. If you have any other questions, drop them. Christian Berg is asking, any updates regarding ENS? Yeah, ENS is live in Ledger Live. So let's see. Do I know a good ENS? Yeah, so you should be able to, let's see. So I can use my own ENS. So we'll go here. Let me plug this in. It works. Okay. And then I go here. I'm going to go to send. Let me just see. Yep, confirmed. I don't want to dox myself by giving my ENS in this live stream. And not that it really matters. I think I've actually already doxed myself, but why mess with that any more than possible? But I just confirmed. So ENS is fully supported in Ledger Live. So if you type in your .eth, it'll automatically, underneath the send field, it will detect the address that ENS is in, and you'll be able to send directly to an ENS. So yes, so ENS is live in Ledger Live. So go ahead and use that. Eric Wallace, any new updates on the Ledger stacks? No new updates. I believe that the official release is going to be this summer. I don't have any more exact time frame than that. I'm kind of waiting on the marketing team to push out communications on that. It's not really like our team's purview to kind of like make announcements like that. I'm just kind of here for like tech support. But the best place to get follow-ups on that and the most like direct information and timely information, honestly, is to follow us on our Twitter page. Let me pull up our Twitter page real quick. I mean, it's not that hard. There's so many scam Twitter accounts out there, like so many, that I'm going to go ahead and just drop the actual handle here for you, just in case. Oh my goodness. All right, cool. Go here. Twitter. All right, so this is our official Twitter page. Oh, really, Kyle? You own ledgerhelp.eth? That's awesome. Oh, wait. Yeah, okay, yeah. Let me just send you a little bit of ETH real quick. You're going to send that back, right? You promise, right? All right, cool. But actually, I can do that, and I will do that. So let's do it. All right, let's go back here. All right. So it is. Okay, ledgerhelp.eth. I'm going to send. Stop me if this is not the right ENS. All right, we're going to go. Yeah, it's only going to be 92 cents. I'm going to send you. Actually, you know what? I don't even have to send. Check this out. I can totally rug pull you here. All right, let's say I wanted to send 0.03 ETH. Continue. But right now, you can see that it for sure does work. The transaction's been broadcasted to my Nano to send my poor little 0.03 ETH. I'm going to go ahead and reject that and deny it on the device and not actually send it. But that does show that that it is possible to send from Ledger Live. Cool. See, April. Good morning. Good morning, April. Eagerly awaiting my Nano X arrive from France. I'm sure I'll have a question when I get it. Awesome. Yeah, please do. Feel free to come back, ask any question you want. I'll do my best. If I can't answer it, I'll at least try to point you in the right direction. Yeah, happy to have you here. All right, so creations in metal. Yes, thanks. I know about passphrases. Awesome, cool. Passphrases are really, really cool. It's like it's a way to add a lot more security to your account. So if anyone else here is interested about passphrases, it's actually one of the topics that I kind of love like diving into. So please feel free to ask. Let's see. All right, Jackie Moon. Does Ledger have any affiliation with Fayez, Tejani, and Mike? I don't know. That's a good question. That's a really good question. I'm not sure if I even know who they are. Yeah, I'm kind of like, I am very much like a tech nerd. Like I don't really pay attention to a lot outside of like you know, technical stuff. So I'm probably not the best person to ask on that, honestly. Yeah, if you want to like reach out to us, we do have an email address, but honestly, I can't think of it off the top of my head. If you want to reach out to us at our support page and ask, maybe we can get you in touch with someone who does know more about that, or pop into our Discord and you know, ask around in there. There may be some people that have more information about that in there. Crypto. So if I have ETH app, I can send multiple crypto on that address. No need to download all the app individually. Yeah. So if you're talking about tokens, with the like on the Ethereum, they'll all be sent using the ETH app. So the ETH app will be used for anything involving the Ethereum blockchain. So no need to install any additional apps. Like for instance, if you have USDT, there's no USDT app. It's just the ETH app. All right, cool. All right, Universal. Hi, when will Ledger Live recognize Volt Inu V3? Oh, I put in a token request on the last live stream. I actually put in a token request for Volt Inu. So it usually takes. So since Volt Inu, so they upgraded their contract. They migrated their contract from V2 to V3, which I learned on the last live stream by looking into it. You're right. Ledger Live did not have the updated contract address, so I submitted a token request to our developers. It usually takes, because we get so many token requests, we put in seriously like hundreds of token requests, and so it usually lags a couple updates, like within the next like few updates. Usually those token addresses are updated in Ledger Live, so it may take up to a couple months. However, I'm gonna show you something really cool here real quick, since we're here. Even though it may take a little bit for the your Volt Inu to actually show up in your account tab, like from here, like in your Ledger Live, right here in your token accounts, you can actually go here to the Discover tab and then scroll down and find Zerion, my new favorite app in the Discover tab. Actually, there are some more apps that actually got added recently that I still need to check out. So it may not be my favorite app anymore. Not sure, but for now it is. Okay, so we go to Zerion. So Zerion will detect assets in your EVM wallet address, your ETH wallet address, but it'll detect assets across multiple chains. So if you have tokens inside your ETH address, for instance, that are not fully supported in Ledger Live, and so it's not showing in your accounts tab, you can come straight here to the Zerion app, and it'll most likely detect those tokens inside, and they'll show up right here within your assets, kind of like how mine are showing right here. You can see it's detecting like Polygon. Whenever you see the Polygon symbol and in purple for Polygon Matic, you know it's on Polygon mainnet and not on Ethereum. And so it's detecting that I have a little bit of Polygon. Look, I even have some Polygon staked, and it's detecting that. But if you go over here and you look at my accounts, I don't even have a Polygon account added to Ledger Live, and it's detecting that, and it's showing me that. So it'll most likely show your Volt Inu V3 from the Zerion. And then let me go back to it real quick, and then show you more real quick. So from here, you can actually send, swap. You can actually manage your tokens right here from the Zerion app. So you won't have to worry about connecting to MetaMask or doing anything like that. Oh, thanks, Kyle. So it looks like V3 has been added. Okay, so I just went on a whole spiel about Zerion, but still a cool app, even though it looks like V3 is added. Let me see real quick. Yeah, cool. Okay, cool. Got that. Okay, so David Ho is asking, hi, can you tell me when will Nano X get Arweave token support? Let's take a quick look at Arweave, just so I have my bearings. I'm not super familiar with Arweave. Okay, so it looks like Arweave is its own blockchain. So it's not an ERC20 token. Let me go to Ledger Live and just real quick, I'm pretty sure that it does not have a Nano app, but I just kind of want to check. Actually, I can go here. I can go to, I'm going to allow that, but I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to here, and then it would show up here. It's all in alphabetical order, so it looks like it's not like confirmed. We don't have support for Arweave. So let me just real quick check in. Actually, Kyle, if you are able to look into Arweave a little bit more and see if it's on the roadmap, that would be great. But while you're doing that, I will go ahead and give you just a little bit of general information about how like how to get a new blockchain support added to Ledger Live. So basically, it all kind of starts. We have a website. Our developer portal is developers.ledger.com, and developers of blockchains such as Arweave can go to our portal and they can click on the embedded Nano app link, and then you can start the process to create a Nano app. And so this is actually where the process begins with integrating brand new, not brand new as in ROV is brand new, but new to Ledger Live blockchains. And so it actually requires the, so this is an open source process, and it actually requires the developers of that blockchain to build a sample Nano app. And of course, we give you the tools that we give the tools that these developers need to do that. Then they submit that to our developers, where it'll go through all kinds of security reviews, and it's a pretty lengthy process, of course, because anything that gets published to Ledger Live has to be perfect. But once it passes through all that process, then the Nano app can get added to Ledger Live. So that's kind of how it starts. So I don't know if Arweave is on the roadmap. Maybe Kyle can give a little bit more insight onto that, if there is any insight to give. But yes, that's how that process would begin. And then once that Nano app is published to Ledger Live, then we would be able to work to get it fully integrated into Ledger Live. Let me show you kind of what I'm talking about. All right, so we come here, we're in Ledger Live, we go to the My Ledger tab. Okay, and so you'll see here on most of these accounts towards the top, you see it says Ledger Live supported. But if you scroll down, here's the first one where it says requires third-party wallet. So this would be an instance where a Nano app was built and published to Ledger Live, but is not yet fully supported in Ledger Live. So you've got this Avalanche Nano app. However, to actually manage your Avalanche using your Nano, you would have to install this Nano app, and then you would have to connect it to a different wallet that does support the Avalanche network, because the Avalanche network itself is not yet supported in Ledger Live. So that would be an example of that. So that's what it would look like at first, and then from there, it would be able to gain the full Ledger Live support through our actions. All right, right here. Juan Garza is asking, how do I get rid of or hide junk bot scammer sent me? I believe they sent me like NFT. Yeah, that's super common. Here, check it out. Here, for the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to add a Polygon account. In fact, the same Polygon account that was just showing in Zerion. Add into Ledger Live. Synchronizing. We're going to call this Matic-Stadium Good. Keep that consistency going. All right. We got this Matic account here. We open it up. You can see that it's got all of these. So here's my business cards for work. These are legitimate. In fact, Kyle, I think I actually still have some of your business cards for some reason. But I think I'll hang on to them unless you want them back. But this one right here, Eunice Meta, Lucky Raffle promo, like those aren't my NFTs. Those are scam NFTs. And the reason that scam NFTs are much more common on Polygon is because the transaction fees are so low. Like scammers can get away with blasting out a ton of scam NFTs to people for very little cost. Whereas on Ethereum, that would cost the scammer a lot of money in gas fees. Not saying it doesn't happen on ETH, but it's more common on Polygon. So if you go to this, you can click on the NFT, and then you can go to these three dots right here, and you can hide the NFT collection, and then hide it, and then it no longer shows up. And that's the best thing to do with your scam NFTs. You don't really like, I wouldn't ever try to like send a scam NFT out of your wallet. That can only lead to like more pain. Like there could be like something set up in the smart contract where it tries to trick you into doing something. Like you never know. So I would the best thing to do is just to hide them. The analogy that I've been giving people is like, think about scam NFTs. Like if you ever go to your spam folder in your email, like that is Web3's version of scam NFT. Scam NFTs are Web3's version of your spam folder in your Gmail account. There's really no way to stop it. Your wallet address is public. Anyone can send any funds to any public wallet address at any time with zero resistance. at least so far today. So if you are receiving these scam NFTs, just know that you're not alone. It's happening to everybody. The best thing to do is just hide them from your collection, ignore them, pretend like they don't exist. Yeah, so I hope that answers the question there. All right. Sweet. Oh, sweet. Is here, let's check out this video. This or I'll check it out later. I'm all curious. Is this you signing up for your an ENS? If so, that's cool. It's a good process. Okay. Omaya Mokena. I have 5 different accounts on Live that belong to friends and family, and they access their cold wallets from other computers. Cheers. Yes, definitely. So I've given you a couple demonstrations now of adding accounts from different nanos into the same ledger Live, but the same is true on the other side of things. With this single nano, I can connect this to a million different computers and import my crypto accounts into every single one of the ledger Live on every single one of those computers if I really wanted to, and if I had the time to do that. The real key here is do they have a nano device, and does that nano device have the correct recovery phrase in it? So let me read your question real quick. So you have 5 different accounts on Live that belong to friends and family. So if all 5 of these different accounts that you have in Ledger Live that belong to different people, if they're all tied to different recovery phrases, then only a nano with that recovery phrase will be able to access it. But if they're all tied to the same recovery phrase, like for instance, if you come here, you'll see that I have this ETH account right here, and I got this, it belongs to this nano. I can add another ETH account right here. And since this first Ethereum account is funded, it'll synchronize and it'll let me add the next ETH account, which you'll see here in just a minute when it gets done synchronizing. The one key thing to remember is that any recovery phrase can derive an unlimited amount of accounts for any blockchain. So I'm using Ethereum as an example, but if I did this for any one of these other accounts, it would look much the same. You would see the initial account, which is the first account that can be derived, followed by the second one. And one thing to keep in mind about this is your accounts, your public wallet address accounts, they will always derive in the exact same order. So your first account will always be the first account that can be derived from your recovery phrase, and the second account will be the second, and so on and so forth to infinity and beyond. So keep that in mind. So if your friends all wanted to be able to access their accounts, they would each need their own nano with that recovery phrase imported into that nano. Yeah, so that's one thing to think about. And if you have any other questions about that, because it's a very expansive topic, any more like specifics that you'd like to share and get some advice on, please do. I will throw out one thing, and this is like, I don't want to like speak like out of place. Like I'm certainly not here to provide any kind of financial advice or anything. However, I am here to provide security advice. And so if it all is belonging to the same recovery phrase, I would be very careful about how many copies of that recovery phrase that you make. Because if the more people that have copies of a recovery phrase, that creates more and more avenues where a mistake can be made and that recovery phrase can be lost. And so if you do have a number of people that are all sharing accounts on the same recovery phrase, and that recovery phrase is leaked in any way, then all the accounts will be drained. Like any account that can be accessed and derived from that recovery phrase will be susceptible. So yeah, just things to keep about security, things to think about security wise. Yeah, and definitely make sure you don't ever store your recovery phrases online. You don't want to take a picture of them. You don't want them like backed up in your 1Password or Google Drive or any kind of cloud service, or even just saved on like a flash drive that you connect to your computer, because technically any device that connects and holds the information that can connect to the internet is technically susceptible, no matter how secure. Obviously, 1Password is very secure, but it's not infallible. Nothing's infallible. The only thing that's infallible is never creating the opportunity for that recovery phrase to be leaked in the first place. And the only way to do that is to caveman style write it down or etch it in stone and keep it completely offline, away from the internet. If it never touches the internet, it can't be stolen by the internet. It's a good rule of thumb to think about. Cool. All right, Tyrese SLK. Looks like you're asking about passphrases. I like to see this. Hello, could you please link a video on how to do passphrase? Can I send all my token inside? I'll do that. Do I need to get my token out of current account and send it back to the passphrase address? Yeah, so passphrases are pretty complicated. Let me find you. Let me find you real quick a good. Let's see, I think we actually have a good. This is how to set up a passphrase. I'm going to show you that, but this right here, this is actually one from our Ledger Academy. It's an article that goes into detail about. It looks like it's pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and share this with you. Okay. So the advanced security feature, passphrases. Okay, so this will give you some information. Passphrases, kind of what they are. And then let's see. This article is a little bit different. This is how to set up a passphrase. These are two different articles. One will talk about what a passphrase is, the first one, and then how to set up. And then this one will show you how to set it up. But I'd like to talk about it a little bit, just so that you get like another perspective on it other than just having to read through an article. So your passphrases. So let's all these links real quick, get fresh, and then we'll come here. Okay, so all of these accounts right here that you see in Ledger Live were all created from the recovery phrase, the 24-word recovery phrase. So by default, this is how all of your accounts will be derived in Ledger Live. The passphrase is something additional that you have to set up on top of your recovery phrase. So keep in mind that your passphrase is still tied to your 24-word recovery phrase, meaning that if your Nano were to get factory reset and you have a passphrase set up, you would need to first import your original 24-word recovery phrase into your Nano. Then you would need to set it up with your passphrase again to regain access to the passphrase accounts. So I bring this up right now just to really hammer home that even with passphrases, and even though it's completely separate accounts outside of your recovery phrase accounts, it's still required that you have your recovery phrase to be able to access these accounts. So definitely don't consider this like a way to like not have to maintain as good a security on your recovery phrase. It's still just as crucial if you're using passphrase account. That being said, let's go ahead and check this out. All right, so I'm going to hold down both buttons right here. I'm going to go to the settings. Go to settings. I'm going to go to security. And then the second option down on the Nano S Plus is passphrase. It's going to look pretty similar on the Nano X or Nano S, whatever you're using. They all have this feature. But passphrase, and it's going to talk about it. It's going to tell you how important it is. And then you scroll past the back button, and you can set up passphrase. Set that up. So you have two options when setting up a passphrase. You have attach to pin or set temporary. So let me explain these two options a little bit. So if you choose set temporary, you will be able to create a passphrase, a single word or words. It can be up to 120 characters in length. Definitely remember that passphrases are case sensitive. Unlike recovery phrase words, it doesn't matter if you have them capital or lowercase with your normal recovery phrase words. The words are the words. It doesn't matter. But passphrases do matter. So if you have a long string of characters or a 120 character long phrase and there's some capital letters in there at any point, you got to make sure you remember which ones are capital, that you have it written down exact somewhere, and that you don't forget any even minor detail, because then you may be locked out of those accounts permanently if you can't remember that. Sure. But anyway, I digress. To set up a passphrase, you can do the set temporary or attach to pin. If you set it up as temporary, this will allow you to set up a passphrase right now on your Nano that will not be saved in memory, meaning that I'll be able to set up the passphrase. I can create accounts in Ledger Live. I can move funds to it. I can sign transactions from there. I can move funds out of those accounts. I can do all my managing. But the second I unplug this Nano and break the power, break the connection and turn it off, it's going to forget that. And it's going to be as if that passphrase had never been accessed from this Nano ever. That passphrase will still exist. It'll always exist on the blockchain, but your Nano will have no memory of it. And so that's a really cool feature to have if you don't want if you have accounts that you do not access very often and you don't want to have to memorize a second PIN, because if you choose this option to attach to PIN, then you will actually be setting up a new PIN for your Nano. And so your Nano at that point will have two different PIN codes to unlock it. You'll have the PIN code to unlock your normal accounts, all these ones that you see in Ledger Live, but then I'll also have a new PIN code that will unlock only the passphrase accounts. That way you can access, and you can only access the accounts from the specific PIN. Think about it like partitioning your Nano and having your one PIN to access these accounts, another PIN to access these accounts. Yeah, and so that's basically how passphrases work. God, there's so much more. There's a lot more, but I'll kind of leave it here for now and kind of keep going down in the comments because we're kind of getting a little low on time here. But if you do have any other follow-up questions, I would say first read that article, but then pop into a future live stream, and if you have more specific questions about them, like please drop them. I'll be more than happy to get into it. Yeah, and you're very welcome. Happy to help. Faint signals from Vega. Are you going to release a device that has no backdoor? I no longer feel safe with your product anymore. So none of our devices have a backdoor. I assume you're talking about Ledger Recover. There's actually a lot of data out now about it. But yeah, I can assure you there's no backdoor in any of our devices. And I'm really sorry that you don't feel safe using our product anymore. Let me see if I can find here. Let me switch here because I have to go to one internal. Bear with me 1 second. Okay. Yes. This one's really good. So I don't know if you're familiar with the Bankless podcast or not, but make sure I didn't freeze here. Oops. There's so many windows open. Okay, so I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Bankless podcast or not, but I definitely recommend checking this out. Our CTO, Charles Guillemet, let me get this dropped for you. Ledger Recover information, went on the Bankless podcast, and they really grilled him, and he answered a lot of technical questions. Honestly, he designed the product, so he knows much more about it than I could even hope to relay to you. I definitely recommend checking out this podcast because, and I hope that it could kind of like alleviate some of your concerns. But yeah, I totally hear where you're coming from. But yeah, I hope that can help. So check that out, and then maybe come back and let me know if you have any more specific questions or not, and I'll do my best. But I would start there. Okay. Oh yeah, yeah. Looks like Kyle answered Juan Garza. Okay, cool. So Cruz, follow-up question. Hit the reset and keep going with the steps. You'll see what I'm talking about. Gives you two options once you hit get started. Two options: recover with device. Or okay, oh man, whew, that's such a relief. Okay, yes. So what you're referring to is the initial setup process of Ledger Live. So basically, if you hit that reset button, then it will revert your Ledger Live back to its original state as if you just installed it. And so you're going to have to go through the process like you did when you initially set up your Ledger. So you can choose the option at that point, already have a recovery phrase, and you can skip all of the basically all the setup, and you can just go directly to connect my Nano, reconnect your Nano to Ledger Live. Then you'll have to go in and you'll have to re-add all your accounts manually back in. It's kind of a process. However, that's correct. Yeah, thank you for clarifying on that. Yes. Okay, cool. Yeah, no problem, Tyrese. Yeah. Happy to be here. Honestly, it's kind of one of the highlights of my work week. I love getting up here and just being able to show you guys things. because it can be kind of hard to, it can be kind of hard to like communicate some of these ideas with blockchain to people through email or live chat. And, it works so much differently than like normal, like our traditional financial system and Web 2, like the internet. Like Web 3 is its own thing. Crypto is its own thing. And it's really hard to, even for technical people, like you don't have to be a dummy to not understand crypto. Like you just have to not have like researched it and looked into it. Like, we get super intelligent, engineers, technical people, software engineers that reach out to us and they're like, what the heck is going on? This doesn't make any sense. And it's like, well, it just works differently. So it's cool to be able to get on these live streams and actually be able to show you guys things. Juan Garza, yeah, definitely look into passphrases. It's really, really cool feature. Yeah, Kyle said it well. The downside is that you forget or lose your passphrase. Even having your words is not enough. Yeah, that's well said. And do remember that the passphrases are case sensitive. I've had to help people before where they're like, I know I'm entering it in right, and it's like, do you remember if this? And they're like, well, I don't really remember, and it's like, yeah, it could be difficult. Yeah. Wow, that ended right at 5. Usually I end up like losing track of time and going over, but it looks like we hit all the questions. Can I get a huge shout out to Kyle for stepping in and helping me answer some of these tougher questions and for providing support. It's been a lot of fun. So I'll be back here next Wednesday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, as usual. I'll also be doing a live stream on this Friday at 10 a.m. That one will be focused on device setup and onboarding. So if you are a newer user, or if you do have any other questions about how a device works, how to set it up, like whether you're doing anything right, wrong, whatever, feel free to pop into that live stream as well. We will also have a moderator in the chat where if you just want to get more questions answered, you can also pop in and ask your questions in the chat, and the mod will get you taken care of as best as possible. Sweet. It's been great. So I guess see y'all on Friday, and have a great rest of your week. Okay. Bye.